Hi friends, in today's session we are going to perform CRUD operations in ASP.NET Core MVC application by using repository pattern and unit of work. We are going to use the entity framework code first approach for this session. I am going to use Visual Studio 2022. I am going to create a new project here. Here we can search for ASP.NET Core web application. We are going to use the MVC, so we can select model view controller, click on next. Here we need to provide project name. This is my project name. I am going to store in my hard disk. This is the path of the storage location, and here if you want you can change solution name or you can keep it as it is like project name. Click on next. Here we have to select the .NET framework. By default latest framework will be selected. I am going to use .NET 8 and I am creating the project. My project has been created. We can go to the solution explorer. Here I am going to create one model. Right click on the models folder, add new class. I am creating product model here, enter. This is my product model. Here I am going to define the properties. I am giving product name and the price I will make it as double, and I need quantity. Here product name, price and quantity is mandatory, so I will decorate with required attribute. And also while displaying this product name I am going to make it as product space name. For that I can change this display name. I will make it as product space name. Like this we are going to display in our view. So price also required, so I will make it required here. Quantity also I am going to make it as required. Now I am going to create one folder inside this models, or I can create outside also. I will create new folder called DAL. Inside this I am going to create one class file, my app db context. This is my db context. So here we need to install required packages for this. Right click on the project, manage NuGet packages. Here I will search for .NET Core entity framework. Here I am going to select Microsoft Entity Framework Core. You can select the latest stable version. Click on install. Click on I accept for the license terms. Also we need a framework core.SQL Server. Install it. We are going to use the DB as SQL Server. Then we need tools. Whenever we are using the code first approach, we need to install entity framework core.tools. Accept. So all required packages are installed. Now this will be inherited from the DB context. We need to add the namespace for this entity framework core and select the DB context. Go to quick actions, generate the constructors. Also here we have to pass our DB context name. We need to add the DB set here. DB set. We have to pass product class name. This is going to be products. Now to communicate with DB, this DB context will be used and we need connection string here. For that, go to the app settings.json. Here we are going to configure connection strings. Here we have to provide the connection string name. I will make it as default connection. And here we need to provide few details like server name we have to provide, database name, then user ID, password. So we need to provide all this information. I'll go to my SQL Server. This is my SQL Server. I'll copy server name. Here I have multiple SQL instances. That's why I'm calling this instance name also. If you have this single instance, you no need to pass this instance name. I'll copy my instance name here. This is my SQL Server name, and database we are going to create dynamically by using code first approach. So I'll copy this project name as my DB name. I'll paste it here. User ID we have to provide. SA is my user ID, and I can pass my password here. This is my password. And also we are going to use the HTTPS. We need to make it as trust server certificate as true. This is my connection string. If you are using Windows authentication, then you no need to pass is user ID and password. Now we need to register this connection string inside program.cs class. Go to the program.cs. Before builder.build, here we have to register the connection string. Builder.services.add DB context. Here we need to pass the DB context name. This is our DB context. Here we have to pass the options. Use SQL Server, and here we can call connection string. We need to pass the connection string name. This is our connection string name. We can paste it here. So everything is configured now. Now we can migrate this DB and the product model to SQL Server. For that, go to package manager console. Here add migration. I will give the migration name as initial. Enter. We don't have any errors here. Now we can update to database. Enter. So there is already available this database and the table. So we can go to SQL Server and we can drop that database, existing database. I'm connecting to my SQL Server. I'll go to the databases. So already I have the DB, just I'll drop it. Now we don't have any DB. Again I'll go to the package manager console, update database. This time it should create the database as well as our table. So it has been created. Now we will go to the database. I'll refresh here. So DB has been created. Check tables. Table also created with all 4 columns. I'll close all tabs. go to Solution Explorer. Here we are going to use the repository pattern. For that I am going to create one folder, add new folder. This is my repositories. Inside this I am going to create one interface. I click on the repositories, add class, select the interface. Here we are going to create iProduct repository. This is my interface. Here I am going to implement few methods to perform CRUD operations for our product class. I'll create task. First we need to get all the products from the table. For that I am going to use, here we need to pause the product model. I'll make it as get products. I'll create method as get products. Then we need product by ID. Then we need to add the product. I'll just make it as add. Here we need to pause the product. Then we are going to update the product. Finally we need to delete the product. So we are going to implement all these 5 methods by using repository pattern. Now we have to implement all these methods. For that I'll create another folder inside these repositories. Create a new folder. Inside this I am going to create one class for the implementation. Add. This class will be inherited from iProduct repository. Select the class and we need to implement all members here. So first we are going to implement the add product. So before implementing these methods, we need database context to communicate with the application and database. For that I am going to initialize DB context here. This is my app DB context. Now I can access database here. So we need to add this DB context into our constructor. Go to the quick actions, generate constructor. Now here I am going to implement add method first. Also we can change these methods as asynchronous. First we need to add the products to the DB context. Once it is added, we need to save the changes here. Here we have to add await because we are going to make this method as asynchronous method. Also we need to change this as async. Then we can implement delete method. First we have to check whether product is available with the ID which is passed by the user. First I'll check that product. appdb context dot products, find async. Here we can pass primary key, that is product ID. Also it's a asynchronous, we use the await. So here we will get the product either null or we will get the data. So based on the availability, we need to remove the product. If product is not null, then we are going to remove the product. Once it is removed, we need to save the changes. Then we have to implement this get product by ID method based on the product ID. So here we are going to return the product. I can call as return await appdb context dot find async ID. So based on this ID, we will find the data and we are going to return it. So here we have to pass the product model. So now we will get the data based on the ID. So also we have to implement the method for reading all the products from the database. This is also we are going to return list of products. Here I'll make it as return. It's a asynchronous method. Await appdb context dot products dot to list. So we are going to get the list of products here. So finally we need to update the product. Here we can find product entry dot. So here we have to pass the product model. State we need to modify entity state dot modified. Also we need to make this as asynchronous. So await save changes. So we have implemented all the methods to perform the CRUD operations. Now we are not going to call this product repository directly from our controller. We are going to implement a unit of work so that we can implement multiple repositories and we can call by using a unit of work. For that I am going to create another interface inside this repositories. Add class, select the interface. I am going to make this interface as a unit of work. This is my interface. Here I am going to call product repository. Inside this I will call product repository. I will make it as product repository. Also I will make this task to save the data, and we will save it, save async. So if we have multiple repositories, we can add it into the a unit of work and we can perform CRUD operations by using this interface. We need to implement this a unit of work like how we implemented for product repository. Now I'll go to the implementations, right click, add one more class need to create here. I'll make this class name as unit of work, add. This will be inherited from the I unit of work. Here I am going to implement the methods implement interface. Here first I'll call our DB context. I'll initialize here. its appdb context. So this also I need to get and set as private. Go to the quick actions, generate constructor for this. Also I'm going to place this here, this repository. I can call inside this product repository so this is my appdb context. Now we are able to initialize both appdb context and product repository in this constructor. Now we need to implement this save asynchronous method. Here I can make it as return await, we have to use it, and context dot save changes async. Now we have implemented a unit of work also. I'll build this solution. We don't have any errors. Now we have to create one controller to call our repository. I'll go to the controllers. Here I'm going to create one controller called MVC controller empty add. I'll make it as product controller. This is my controller. First we will read all the products from the products table. For that we need to initialize our unit of work here. I'll call private read only unit of work. Go to quick actions, generate constructor. Now here I can read all the products. I'm going to make this action method as async, and here I'll get the list of products. Get products. So this is the method we are going to call it. We need to make it as await. So we are going to return products here. Here we have to add task since it's a asynchronous action method. Now we will create a view for this index action method to display all our products. For that, right click on the index, add view, create razor view empty, add it, name it as index. For this view, click on add. So our view has been added here. Here I am going to we need to import namespace called project.models. So I need a product model. For that I am calling this namespace here, then I need to call model. So here we will get the list of products, so we need to make it as products. Now I can read a list of products here. Here we have to provide our page title, so I can store it in view data. We have to mention as title, this is a key name. I'll give the product list. This is my page title. Then I'll go and create one div here. I can decorate some classes here. I'll make it as container, margin top. I can give it as 5. Inside this I'm going to give one h2 tag to display the title inside my view. So I'm going to use the same title as product list. Then I'll use another div. These are all the bootstrap classes I'm using. If you want, you can change it. And I'm going to show it as and then I need to create one button here. I'll create one anchor tag Asp action. So this will be used to create new product. So we are going to display in the index page while displaying the products. And also I can give class btn primary. I'll make this title as add new product. This is going to be one button. Whenever we click on this add new product button, it goes to the action method called create, and it will show the page to create new product. I have not yet implemented this create action. Just now we are creating one button. So once we completed reading these products, then we can implement this create. After this we are going to add another div. I'll give shadow here, paragraph 3, and margin bottom I'll make it as 5, and background is white and rounded. So these are all the bootstrap classes. Inside this I'll show an HTML table. Also I'm going to add few classes. Okay, then table head. Here I'm going to show ID. So we have to add table row. Inside this table header will be there, product name, and the price. Quantity. Once table head is done, then we need to display the body. This data we are going to bind dynamically. Before binding, we need to check whether we have the data in the table or not. For that, model is not equal to null, and model is having any data, then only we are going to bind this. So here we are going to bind it, all the products, table row, table data. Here I'm going to loop it. So I'll cut this for each. So here I'll get the products in model. Inside this product ID, product name, then price, quantity. Also we need to display few buttons to show our action buttons, like action. I'll create one more table header. Also here we need to show some action buttons to edit, delete and check the details. I'll create another table header. I'll make it as action. After this td, I'm going to show all the buttons inside this column. I'll create those buttons. Asp action. First we are going to show the button for edit. So here we have to provide the route, and here we need to show product ID, need to pass here to edit the data. This is one button, it's going to be edit. I'll duplicate this. Then we need another button for details. Here also we are going to pass ID. These actions we need to create, we have not yet created. Then this is going to be delete. So if we have any products inside this model, we are going to display all the product details along with these buttons. If we don't have any products, it will comes to the else block, and here we are going to show the messages as products not available. I'll create table row, table data and columns 5. So we have 4 plus 1, 5 columns. I'm going to span this. I can show the custom message here. So this is the message which we are going to show it. I'll save it, run the application. I'll call my controller product. Okay, so we need to register this unit of work also inside program.cs class. We have not yet registered. So we need to register here. Builder.services.add scoped. Here we need to call interface name unit of work, the implementation class unit of work. I can run the application. I will run the application again. So currently we don't have any products in our database, so it's showing products not available. What we can do, we can add a few products from the backend and we can see whether our products are loading or not. I'll go to my database, expand the database, edit top 200 rows. Currently we don't have any products. I'll close this. Now we will reload this page. We can see whether products are loading or not. Here we have some error, ASP route. We need to change few things here. I can make it as ID. So here instead of ID you can mention whatever the name you want. we can make it a meaningful name. Since we are passing id, just I am giving the route -id. So now our products are loading here, so we don't have any issues. Now we need to implement add new product. So whenever user clicks on this add new product, we need to show the form to user entry. Once user is entered the data and if he submits, it should go to the database. We need to post the data. We'll see that implementation now. Close this, go to the controller. Here I'm going to add another action method. So instead of details, I'm going to make it as create. Here I'm going to create empty view because we don't have any data when we are creating. So we are going to show the blank view. For that, I'll right click here, add view. I'll go with razor view empty, and I'll make it as create add. I'll remove existing content. Here we'll use the namespace using, we have to give our project name dot models. Here we are going to get the data in the form of product model, so I'll use model and product. Here we have to give the page title, view data, I'll use it. It's going to be title is my key name. Here I'll name it as create product. This is the title of my page. Then I'll go to div class container. I'll give margin top 5. Then we will create s2 tag to display the title. This is going to be page title. Inside the page we are going to display as header of the form. Then I'll use another class. I'll create another div here, shadow. This is a paragraph, margin bottom 5 I'll give, and background I'll make it as white and rounded. Inside this I'm going to call one form. Here we have to provide Asp action. We are going to post the data. Whenever we are going to post the data, we need to call as a form, and here we can define the method also, the whether method is post or get. So you can pass it as post. So this is going to be post method. I'll create div, set this class form group. I'll use the flex row. Then inside this I'll use another div. Okay. Inside this I'll use one label, ASP4 product name, and I can give class name here. It's going to be control label. Okay, I will give some classes here. then I need input, should be ASP4. Then we need to display the span for the validation messages. ASP validation for product name, class, text, danger. I am going to copy these and we are going to reuse this div. This is going to be price. This input should be numbers because it's a price. I'll use as number, type number. Even for quantity also we can make it as number. This is going to be quantity. So after these controls, we need to place buttons for the submit and back to list. I'll create another div here. And margin top, I'll give it as 2. Inside this, I'll show input, type is button, value I'll create value, I'll make it as create, and class we can add here. BTN primary. We need another button here. I'll duplicate this. This is going to be here. I can redirect to index, ASP action, index, value I'll give it as back to list. Whenever user clicks on this button, we will move this page to index page. I'll give the class as success. So we have created the view page. Now we need to create another action method to post the data. I'll go to the product controller. Now we will create another action method to post the data. I'll copy the same action method, and this is going to be HTTP post method. We are going to post the data from application to our DB. So this is my create action method. Also we need to add the validate anti-forger. Also we need to add the validate anti-forgery token. Here we are going to make as asynchronous method, and we'll add the task here. Here we will receive the data in the form of product model. Also we need to check the bind values. All the values should be verified here. ID, product name, price and quantity. product. Before submitting the data, if model state is valid, then only we are going to submit the data. Here we have to use await unit of work dot product repository dot add. We are going to create the product here. Once it's created, we need to save the changes. Save changes, save async. So once product has been created, so here we need to pause the product. Once product is saved, we need to redirect, return the page to action method, say index. We will post the page to index. Otherwise, we are going to redirect to same view here. Now we will run the application, we will see the output. Now here every time we are calling product controller manually. Instead of that, we can add one product hyperlink here, so that we can click that product and we can add our data, or we can see it. I close this. I will go to the solution, go to the views shared folder. Inside this, go to layout.cshtml, copy this last hyperlink and paste it here. I am going to use controller as product. This is my product controller and this is hyperlink name. Whenever user clicks on this product hyperlink, it should go to the index page where we can see all the list of products. Run the application now. Click on product, click on add new product. I am going to add one more product here. I will call it as test. Create. We are unable to submit the data from the form. Go to the create view, and this is the create button. Here the type should be submit. I will reload the page here. Create. The product has been created now. Now we will try to implement the edit functionality. First I will go to the index view and I will change this to center. Go to the product controller. Here we will implement the edit functionality. For that, I am going to create another action method. Here I will create new action method for edit functionality. It is going to be async. Here this is going to be edit. Here we have to pass the ID, product ID should be passed to edit action method. Based on this ID, we will get the data and we will display in the form. Here if ID is 0, then we will return empty view here, or you can show it as not found. Else we need to check the product details, unit of work dot repository and get product by ID. Here we have to pass the product ID. This is going to be asynchronous method, so I'll use the await here. We have to check whether data is null or not. If it's null, then we need to return again empty view. So here else return product. So like this edit method is used to show the data in the form. Likewise, we need to create another action method to post the data. I'll just copy this. I'm going to use it for post the data. Post. Also, I'm going to check this valid anti-forgery token. Here we have to pass data along with the ID. I'm going to pass the bind property here. Bind, we need to pass columns ID, I am going to remove this functionality. If ID is not equal to product.id, then I'll return as empty view or not found. We can pass to the user. Else, if it is model state is valid, then I'm going to update the data. I'll use await update. We have to pass the product. Once it is updated, we need to save the changes. Once it is updated successfully, we need to redirect to the index view. Else, we are going to return to the same view page with the same product. It will return to the same page. Now we will create view for this edit page. Right click, add view, select the empty view, add. I'll make it as edit. I'll remove this. I'll copy all the controls from create page. This is going to be edit product. Here, along with this product name, we need ID to modify the product. I'll use ID. Here I'm going to make it as read only, so that user will not modify this primary key value, and he can modify product name, price, quantity and other things. I'll make this as update. Save changes. I'll run the application. Click on product, click on edit. So our product details are loaded here. So ID is there, which is non-editable. Here we can modify the product name. I'm updating few details. Click on update. Cannot insert explicit value for identity column table products. Okay, it's trying to insert the ID also. Let me fix this issue. Again it's going to create, actually instead of update it's redirecting to create. Yes, we have done one mistake here. Go to edit page. Here ASP action instead of edit, since we copied from create page, so we left as it is as create. So now we corrected it. We'll run the application again. On product, edit. Now I'm going to update this page. Update, it's coming to edit post action method. Here ID is 4, model state is valid, it's updated, saved, and it will return to index view. So this has been updated. Now we will implement the details view. Go to the controller, we can use same like edit. This time it should be details. We are going to pass the ID as input parameter. Based on the ID we will get the product details, and we are posting the details to view. Right click on this details, click on razor view empty, add. This is going to be details view. This time again I am going to copy the same information. I'll replace it here. This is going to be product details. This is my title. This time we have to give these details here. Also this is not required. This is also not required. We will make it as read only. Because this is the form which we are showing for view purpose, we are not going to allow user to edit the details. So I'm making all the controls are read only, and these validations are not required, so I'm removing it. This is our control. This is our details view page. Let us run this application and test this. Click on this details page. All are read only, so we can read the data but we cannot modify the content. Go to the back to list, it will go to the index page. Now we have to implement final one, delete functionality. Go to the controller. I am going to copy the same one for deletion. This is going to be delete. Also I need one more action method to post the data. I'll use this. This is going to be delete confirmed. Action name I want to change as delete. So once this is going to be a view page, once we click on the delete button, it will redirect to delete view page, so it will display all the details. Once we confirmed, it will come to this post action method, it will delete the data. So update, here we have to pause the ID, and here we'll call it delete. That's it. This is only one change we have. Now we will create the delete view. Right click on the delete, add view. I am going to create empty razor view. This is going to be delete. I will go to the details page, copy the content from here. Here details also, it's not going to be post method, just we are going to read the data, that's it. But delete, we are going to post the data. Instead of product details, it's a delete product. I'll use delete here. We are going to pass ID, product name, price, quantity, all the details. I'll duplicate this. Here we are going to use delete. Also action name will be delete. Instead of success, I'll make it as danger. We will run the application and we can check the delete functionality. Click on product. Currently we have 4 products. Check from backend how many products we have in the database. Execute. We have 4 products at present. Click on delete. It will go to the delete page. So we are restricting user to edit since it's a deletion page, so user can delete or they can come back to the list. Click on delete again. I'll confirm the deletion, so that product has been deleted. I'll go to the backend and we can check this. Currently we have 3 records as per our UI. Execute here, so that 4th record has been deleted. We can try one more record here, delete it. I'll go to the deletion, back to list, so it will not delete. So currently we have 2 products. Execute this, 2 products available. Like this we can perform CRUD operations in ASP.NET Core MVC application by using repository pattern and unit of work. That's it for today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.